Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. How are you? Hope you are well by the grace of Almighty Allah. I am also well. I know that you have to stay at home for your safety because we are passing a very critical moment now. That's why we have started taking online classes, and you know that I have taken some online classes on different topics, and sentence connectors is one of them. Some students requested me to take another class on sentence connectors using passage, actually having 10 gaps exactly like one question. That's why I have decided to take a class on sentence connectors. I will teach you two passages today, one from whole question and another from here. So let us start our class. You know that connectors connect or join words, phrases, clauses, or sentences. So, to answer connectors, you have to understand the meaning of the passage or sentences. It is very important to know. So, let us start our class. You can see that there is a gap in the very beginning of the first sentence. Then, what is there? We live in an independent country. It is a very simple sentence. It is very easy to understand. You know the meaning of the sentence. Now, what will you use in that? I have written answer here. You can see at present. You have to use at present the gap. So why will you use at present? You have to know use of at present to understand it. That's why I have written something here. Look at here. At present, now, nowadays. That means instead of at present, you can write now or nowadays. They are alternatives. Look at here. It means at present. It is used when there is something in the current time or something is going on. Have you understood? For example, at present, everyone finds fault. You know that everyone tries to find fault nowadays. It is something in the current time, that means it is going on. That's why you have to write at present or now or nowadays. Have you understood? Then in the second sentence, nowadays we are passing a critical moment. You know that it is going on. We are passing a very critical moment now. That's why you have to write nowadays or at present. Have you understood? So, we live in an independent country. You know that still we are living in an independent country. It is something in the current time. That means it is going on. That's why you have to write at present in the first gap. Have you understood? I think you have understood. So let us go to the next sentence. There is also a gap in the very beginning of the sentence. Then what is there? It was not an independent country before 1971. In first sentence, what have I written? That is, we live in an independent country. But in the second sentence, what is there? It was not an independent country before 1971. It is totally different. Okay, an independent country, not an independent country. So, what have I written here? As answer, that is but. So, why we use but here? That's why you have to know use of verb. Okay, look at here. You can see there. I have written something but. It means but is used for joining two ideas or statements when the second one is different from the first one. That means totally opposite. So, for example, he studied well but failed in the exam. What is the first idea? That is, he studied well. The second one, failed in the exam. You know that by studying well, you will pass in the exam. But failed in the exam, totally different, totally opposite. That's why you have to use but here. In the second sentence, he is very honest. Try to understand. He is very honest, but he is not respected in society. You know that if you are honest, then you will be respected in society, but it is totally different. The second one is different from the first one. That's why you have to use but. Similar case is in here, that is second sentence is different from the first one. That's why you have to use but here. Have you understood? I think you have understood well. So let us go to the next sentence. Bangabandhu dash, there is a gap, is called the father of the nation, declared independence on 26 March 1971. Look at here, you can see that there is a verb, it's called, there is a main verb, there is another main verb, that is declared. If you find two main verbs in a sentence and if you find a gap before above, then you have to write relative means who or which. So what will you use here? I have written the answer, that is who. So you have to know use of who. Let us know use of who now. Actually, who is, you can see that who is always associated with person or people. Then which is used with things. Have you understood? If it is associated with person or people, you have to use who. If it is used with things, you have to use which. For example, Hassan, who works here, is very honest. There are two main verbs, works, is, and before a verb you have seen that there is who. I have to use who because Hassan is a person. But in the next sentence, I have used which. He has a watch which is very nice. I have used which. Why? Because watch is not a person, it is a thing. So Bangabandhu is a person. So you have to use what? I think you have understood well. So let us go to the next sentence. There is also a gap in the very beginning of the sentence. What is there? The liberation war began. Bangabandhu declared independence. What happened next? The liberation war began. So I have used then. Then means next. Have you understood? Actually, for this you have to know use of then. So let us know use of then. I have written something about then here. We can use then to mean next. Have you understood? For example, he opened the door, then the light came on and his friends shouted happy birthday. Actually, he opened the door. Next, what happened? The light came on and his friends shouted happy birthday. That's why I have to use then. Next sentence, he gets up very early in the morning, then he brushes his teeth. Actually, he gets up very early in the morning. What happens next? He brushes his teeth. That's why I have to use then. Okay? If you find something like what happens or what happens next, then you have to use then. Bangabandhu declared independence. What happened then? What happened next? The liberation war began. That's why I have to use then. I think you have understood well. Why have I used then here? Okay? Then there is another gap in the sentence. What is there? The freedom fighters joined the war. The freedom fighters joined the war. You can understand that if the war began, the freedom fighters must join the war, otherwise it will not be a war. So what will you use here? I have used and. You can see that I have used and as answer. So you have to know why will you use and here. So let us know use of and. I have written something here there. And is used to join two or more grammatically similar expressions. Have you understood? For example, try to understand. They came, played and won the match. Similar expression. Nothing contrasting points or there is no contrasting point. Understand? Similar expression. That's why I have used and. I go to college regularly and learn a lot. Also similar expression. That's why I have used and here. Understand? There is no contrasting point. Kareem and Rahim are friends. That is also similar expression. That's why I have used and here. Now look at here. The liberation war began. The freedom fighters joined the war. Similar expression. There is no contrasting point. That's why I have to use and here. Have you understood? I think you have understood. So let us go to the next sentence. That is, there is a gap at the very beginning of the sentence. What is there? They fought bravely. We got freedom. There are two parts in the sentence. In the first part, they fought bravely. It is a clause. We got freedom. Amra স্বাধীনতা পেয়েছিলাম. So what have I written here as answer? That is S. Now let us know use of S. Look at here. I have written something about S. You can also use since instead of S. It is alternative and alternative of S. We use as or since to connect a result with a cause when they match. For example, try to understand. As he studied well, he got GPA 5. It is a cause. He studied well. That's why he got GPA 5. It is result. That means there is a cause and result. And they match. You know that by studying well, you will get GPA 5. That's why I have to use as here. Have you understood? I think so. Then, the next sentence, look at here. As he goes to college regularly, he learns a lot. It is also a cause and it is a result. You know that going to college regularly, you will learn a lot. So, they match. So, I have to use as here. Have you understood? Look at here. The freedom fighters fought bravely. It is a cause. It is a cause, and we got freedom. It is a result. And they match. Without fighting bravely, we can't get our freedom. Okay? So we have to use as or since here. Have you understood? I think I have understood well. So let us go to the next sentence. There is also a gap in the very beginning of the sentence. What is there? They deserve our respect. Who? The freedom fighters. What we use here? So. Why? That's why you have to know use of so. So look at here. I have written something. Instead of so, you can write as a result for this reason. That's why, therefore, hence, or consequently. No problem. You can move on from here. Now. Try to understand use of so. It means so. It is used to indicate cause and effect relationships. Understand? For example, he studied well. It is a cause. So he got GPA 5. He got GPA 5. It is a result. And they have relationships here. Understand? They match. By studying well, you will get GPA 5. That's why you have to use. Have you understood? I think you have understood well. Then the next sentence, they played well, so they won the match. You know that by playing well, you will win the match. And it is a cause, it is a result. And the match, there is a relationship between cause and effect here. That's why you have to use so. So look at here. They fought bravely. That means the freedom fighters fought bravely. We got freedom. So by fighting bravely, they gained. That means we gained freedom. That's why they deserve our respect. It is a result. It is a cause. And there is a relationship, a match. That's why you have to use so here. Okay? Have you understood? I think so. Okay. Let us go to the next sentence. We remember them. Yes, we remember the freedom fighters. Dash, there is a gap. We observe the Independence Day, dash, the victory. So it is a matter of time. What have I used? When. So you have to know use of when. Okay. Look at here. You can see that when. When is used in any statement referring to time. That means if it is a matter of time, you have to write when. For example, when I was a child, I used to play with dolls. I used to play with dolls when I was a child. It is a matter of time. That's why I have to use when here. In the next sentence, you should remain silent when the teacher enters the room. You should remain silent when the teacher enters the room. It is a matter of time. That's why I have to use when. Yeah, it's a similar case. You have to use when here. We remember them when we observe the Independence Day. Dash the victory. What will you use here? And you can see that I have written answer and why? Similar expression. The Independence Day and the victory. There is no contesting point. That's why you have to use and here. Okay? I have told you a few minutes ago. So I think you have understood both gaps, both answer, and equals. Now the last sentence. What is there? There is a gap in the very beginning of the sentence. Then they are our real heroes. They are our real heroes. Actually, the freedom fighters are our real heroes. So I have written actually. Now you have to know use of actually. So let us know. Actually, instead of actually, you can write in fact. No problem. It means actually, it is used to emphasize that it is true. That means if something is true, you have to write actually. For example, actually man is model. You know that man is model, it is true. That's why I have written actually. Actually, he is my hero. Someone can be my hero. It can be true. So actually man cannot live alone. You know that man cannot live alone. It is true. That's why I have written actually. And it is also a true fact. It is true. They are our real heroes. That's why I have written actually. I think you have understood 10 gaps, the passage, and all connectors. Okay? If you face some problems, you can tell me. Then I will try my best to solve or to give you right information. Now, let us practice from board question. Another passage, and I will teach you from Tina School Board 2019. I have written the passage having 10 gaps so you can see and try to understand. We cannot walk on a road in the darkness without light. We cannot work on a road in the darkness without light. I think you have understood the meaning of the sentence. Then there is a gap. We cannot stay forward in our life without education. Without light, you can't work. Without education, you can't go ahead. So, can you understand? Can you think that there is similarity? So, what will I use here? I think I will use similarly here. So, let us know use of similarly. I have written something here. Look at here. Instead of similarly, you can write likewise, in the same way, no problem. We use it, it means similarly. We use it when mentioning a fact or situation that is similar to the one we have just mentioned. Okay. For example, he has become famous by playing cricket well. Similarly, she has become popular by singing well. That means the first one has become famous by playing cricket and second one has become popular by singing well. That means similar case actually. That's why you have to write similar. Another example, we cannot live without air. You know that we cannot live without air. Similarly, fishes cannot live without water. Same thing. That's why you have to write similar. Have you understood? That's why in the board question you have to use similarly here. Clear? Now let us go to the next sentence. There is a gap in the very beginning of the sentence, and what is there? Throughout the ages, education has always been compared to light. As we cannot go ahead without education, so education has always been compared to light. It is a result, and the first one is a false. Okay, so the match, there is a relationship between cause and effect, cause and result, and I have told you a few minutes ago that you have to use so if you find causal relationship, cause and effect relationship, cause and result relationship. So what will you use here? So okay, I think you have understood. Go to the next sentence. Actually in this sentence you will get another gap, that is and dash and gap. Ignorance has been compared to darkness. Totally contrasting point, totally different thing. So let us know what will I use here. I have to use here on the other hand. Why? Let us know use of on the other hand. On the other hand, or you can use on the contrary. It is used to introduce the second of two contrasting points, facts or ways of looking at something. For example, Hassan studies well, on the other hand, Rahim does not study well. Two contrasting points. One studies well, then another one does not study well. That's why I have to use on the other hand. In the second sentence, you can see that a rich man welcomes a rainy day. You know that. On the other hand, a day laborer suffers most on a rainy day. Totally contrasting points. Have you understood? So, in our passage also, look at here, we are discussing education, importance of education. Then we have got ignorance, about ignorance, the information about ignorance. Ignorance has been compared to darkness, totally contrasting point. That's why we have to use on the other hand. Have you understood? I think you have understood. Then there is another gap in the very beginning of the sentence. What is there? The light of education enlightens us. So what is that? The light of education enlightens us. You know that education enlightens us. So it is a true fact, that means it is true. Education enlightens us. So if it is true, what will you use? I have told you a few minutes ago that you have to use actually or in fact. So here you have to write actually or in fact. Okay. Let us go to the next sentence. There is also a gap in the very beginning of the sentence. Then what is there? It broadens our mind and widens our outlook. You know that education broadens our mind and widens our outlook. So you have got an extra information here. So if you get an extra information, what will you write? Besides. Instead of besides, you can write moreover, in addition, again, furthermore. Have you understood? Look at here. It is used to add an extra information, I have told you. For example, Hassan is a good student. Okay, he has some good qualities. Right. For example, yes, if you want to show some example, you have to write, for example, as connector. He has studied well. Okay, good student studies well. We know that. Dash. Besides, he goes to college regularly. It is an extra information. After giving an example, then you will get an extra information. Then you have to write besides. If you get an extra information, there is more. That is, moreover, he plays cricket well. It is also an extra information. If it is also an extra information, you have to write moreover. Then if you get more, then you have to write in addition. In addition, he has the weak students. Have you understood? I think you have understood. So What will you use here? That is besides. Besides, it broadens our mind and widens our outlook. It is, then in the second sentence, there is also a gap in the very beginning of the sentence. What is there? It is education which helps us to become good citizens. Have you understood? It is also an extra information. That's why you have to use more over here. So here you have to use besides. Here you have to use more. Have you understood? Okay. Okay, let us go to the next sentence. That is, there is also a gap before the sentence in the very beginning of the sentence. Then what is there? Education creates good citizens and ensures the smooth development of a country. Actually, it is not an extra information. Instead, try to understand. We have mentioned about good citizen here. Now, what is it? Education creates good citizens. That means and ensures the smooth development of a country. How? By creating good citizens. That means by doing so. If you want to mean by doing so, what will you use? You have to use thus. That's why you have to know use of thus. So let us know. The original meaning of thus is in this way, by doing so or in so doing. It binds the components of our argument or discussion into a unified, coherent, and persuasive whole. For example, a student should go to college regularly. He should study well. He should listen to his teacher's lecture carefully, thus he can get a good result. Actually, by doing so, he can get a good result. That's why I have to use thus here. If you mean by doing so, or in this way, or in so doing. So here, I have to use thus. Thus, education creates good citizens and ensures the smooth development of a country. Have you understood? Then in the next sentence, there is also a gap in the very beginning of the sentence. What is it? Ignorance stands on the way of development of an individual. Totally contrasting point. Understand? Education ensures our development. Ignorance stands on the way of development. That means totally contrasting point. What do you use now? I have told you a few minutes ago that here you have to use on the contrary or on the other hand. Okay? Because of having contrasting point here. Okay. I think you have understood. Then let us go to the next sentence. There is also a gap in the very beginning of the sentence. What is the ignorance as a detrimental effect on the overall development of a nation? So ignorance has a detrimental effect on overall development. It is an extra information. It is an extra information for you. That's why you have to use besides, moreover, in addition, whatever it is. You can see that I have written the answer here. There is moreover, or you can write in addition, or you can write this as no problem. Then let us go to the final sentence. That is, there is also a gap in the very beginning of the sentence. What is there? We should come forward to educate every single person of our country and thereby ensure the development of our country. Why will you have to educate every single person? Because education ensures development or development. So there is a cause and result relationship. So if there is a relationship between cause and result, so you have to use so. I have told you a few minutes ago about it. So what we use? So we should come forward to educate every single person of our country. Have you understood? I think you have understood my lecture. But if you have any problem, then you can tell me. I will try my best to solve your problem and to make you understand. So my dear students, study well. Try to know more about connectors and practice your code question. I think you will do well in your exam. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.